Hello, welcome to Inside Politics. My name is Anastasia Lavrina and today we are in Kigali, Rwanda. We have a very special guest. Joining me now is Yolande Makolo, spokesperson for the government of Rwanda. More welcome to Inside Politics.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. So I guess you already have some ideas on what I'm going to talk about. The situation in the region. How does Rwanda assess the current security landscape in the Great Lakes region, particularly regarding the recent escalation on the border with DRC?
Well, the current situation is not good. We're still, with the capture by M23 of Goma in January, that was it represented a new phase of this conflict that has been ongoing since the end of 2021 in Eastern DRC. So right now, there's clearly a difficult situation between Rwanda and DRC based on this crisis, but it's also an opportunity because the region is getting involved in a very helpful way. The East African community and the Southern African Development Community, the two blocs, have been meeting. I would term it as a breakthrough. These blocs working together have now put together a framework for an African-led solution to this conflict. So it's an opportunity that all of us have to seize and to work together to once and for all resolve the issue of insecurity in Eastern DRC and in our region, because it's been going on for far too long. And over the years, I think efforts have been made, but it's always about containing the situation and not solving it. So we really have an opportunity right now with the involvement of these African countries in these two blocs, especially with the recent appointment of facilitators who are all former heads of state or government, 5 of them from our continent, who will guide this process. So I think the situation, as I said, is not good, but there is some hope that we can work through it.
Indeed, very interesting. You are speaking about the regional approach to the crisis. And if I'm not mistaken, there have already been some attempts, let's say by Angola, that proposed the possibility for two sides to meet, to discuss, to resolve the crisis. But do you still believe that the crisis can be resolved by bringing the countries like DRC and Rwanda together without involvement of M23?
Well, it's two different issues. First of all, there's the internal issue in the DRC. M23 is a Congolese group, and they have their grievances against their own government. So that has to be sorted out between them and their government. And because of the crisis of insecurity that the DRC government has caused for us by their actions, we have also to sort that out between us and the government of DRC.
So Angola, two different processes you see here, right?
Well, there used to be two different processes. You mentioned Angola. The president of Angola was the mediator between Rwanda and the DRC for a couple of years, and some progress was made, but it was never completed. But there was some progress made. Now the two blocs together have decided that this process with Angola and another process in which the Congolese armed groups were to negotiate and speak with their government. This was led by a former president of Kenya. It was called the Nairobi process. The breakthrough now is that these two processes have been merged. They are going to be led by these facilitators that have been appointed by the region. And the president of Angola is now the chairperson of the African Union. So this process is also under the African Union. So he's still a leader in this process. But now there's a more concrete way forward. So all these issues, whether it's the Congolese internal issue or the conflict or the tensions between Rwanda and DRC will all be resolved within this one process. That external partners are also welcome to support and reinforce, and that's happening as well.
Rwanda is being accused by supporting M23 in this particular situation. What will be your response for that?
Well, if the accusations mean that we understand what the M23 is fighting for, what they've been fighting for, and their grievances for the last more than 3 years against their government, yes, we understand. Because the members of the M23 come from a community in Eastern DRC, the Congolese Tutsi community, that has been systematically persecuted over decades. And this has its roots in the colonial history of this region. This region was divided up into countries through a process that happened in Berlin in 1884, 1885, where these European countries decided that they would, draw arbitrary borders across communities, and these communities that speak in Rwanda, like we do in Rwanda, found themselves in the DRC, but they have never been granted their rights as citizens. It got even worse in 1994 during the genocide here, when those who committed genocide here, the perpetrators of the genocide, fled to Eastern DRC, and they started preying on those communities. So they intensified the discrimination and persecution that already existed, and started systematic violence against the Congolese Tutsi there, which is why we have so many Congolese Tutsi refugees in Rwanda. Members of the M23 are fighting for their right to live in their country, to live in their communities, and the right not to be discriminated against. And we understand this because we have, after having suffered the genocide here, we know exactly what it is about. And so should everyone in the world, actually, because genocide is an ethnic cleansing, is a crime against humanity, all of humanity. We don't seek to change borders. They're never going to be changed. This is a principle of the African Union. Rwanda has no expansionist agenda or ambitions. We are most concerned about our security. And the people who fled, the perpetrators of genocide who fled to the DRC, who are harming communities, who are killing people. So these Congolese communities, Congolese Tutsi communities in DRC, have been threatening us to come back to Rwanda for the last 30 years. So there's never been a point in the last 30 years that our western border is not heavily guarded. So this situation of insecurity, and more intensified with the current conflict, we want an end to it. So two things. We are concerned about the issue of security for our country. You've traveled around Rwanda, you've seen what we've managed to build together. We have solved a lot of the problems that we had. We keep working on them. One issue that we take very seriously is security after what happened here. We have a very strong army that defends our borders, and we will not let anything come in and take us back to where we were in 1994. So security is extremely important for us. There is insecurity on the other side of the border in the DRC. We do not want that to spill over. So that is why our position is we have to guard our borders, we have to guard our national security. Number two, these communities in Eastern DRC that are discriminated against, that they're killed, their lands are taken, they're chased away from their own country, they're refugees here in Rwanda or in Uganda or in other countries, have a right to go home. And everyone in the world should support that as well. So these are the issues that we're dealing with right now, and we want to work together with the countries in the region and the other African countries in East Africa and in Southern African community to resolve this issue once and for all.
You explained the position that Rwanda understand clearly the intention of M23 to provide more security in the region itself. But apart from that, coming back to the question about accusation, Rwanda also is being accused by providing military and logistical support to M23. What is the reality on the ground in this way?
I mean, the reality on the ground is that M23 is a very is a determined movement. I mean, they have a lot of the members have been some of the members were in the Congolese army before, so they are used to fighting. They are, from what we understand, a disciplined force. They're very determined and committed to their cause, because for them it's a matter of life and death. They're fighting for their survival. That's the number one weapon, I would say, for any fighting force. They have to be committed to the cause. They appear to be committed to their cause, which is understandable. And when it comes to weapons, the number one supplier of weapons to the M23 is actually the Congolese army, because every battle that the M23 fought and won, the Congolese army would run away and leave their weapons there. So they've abandoned a lot of equipment, and the M23 has been able over 3 years to accumulate a lot of equipment from the Congolese army.
The situation itself, you say that you wish the problem to be solved by the mutual approach of the countries in Africa. But at the same time, we know the position of some European countries, the approach, they also sanction some policymakers here, mentioning there no way to support M23 and all issues should be resolved in Kinshasa itself. So what will be your response to that? Where do you think international community is making its mistake and where it's taking the right position?
Well, I think those who have been sanctioning Rwanda, this one-sided sanction, they're really missing the point, because we're not going to be blackmailed into compromising our national security with the threat of sanctions. Because if we didn't have the security posture that we have, the stance that we have on our national security, then this country would collapse. Then where would we be? So the sanctions are not are regrettable, but for us, our priority is our security. I think the mistake that they make is also to not either ignore the root causes of this crisis or misunderstand, if I were to be a bit more generous. But there is no way that they don't understand what the root causes of this problem is. The FDLR, this group that committed genocide here and then fled into the DRC and has been there for more than 30 years now. Everyone knows who they are. Since 2003, there have been more than 20 Security Council resolutions about the FDLR and about addressing the threat of the FDLR. In fact, the reason why MONUSCO went to Eastern DRC, its main mandate was to fight FDLR and other armed groups. And this is, don't take my word for it, read the resolutions. And they never have. This is the UN peacekeeping force in DRC. In their support of the Congolese army, they are actually indirectly working with FDLR, because the FDLR, this genocidal militia, is integrated into the Congolese army. So they're actually doing the opposite of what they're supposed to do. The situation now in Eastern DRC is worse than it was when MONUSCO was established in the early 2000s. So this is all to say that, yes, the international community knows very well what the situation is like in Eastern DRC. They know what the threats are. It's not a secret that Congolese Tutsi communities have been persecuted systematically over all these years. So there's no excuse not to understand what's going on and what effect that has on Rwanda's security. So that's really the mistake that they're making.
There is another approach to the situation here, blaming Rwanda for its own interest in the mining fields in Eastern DRC. Therefore, but I do know that Rwanda has its own great experience in mining. Therefore, what will be your stance on this?
Well, there's a lot of talk about mining, and it's an issue to be discussed. But if we're going to talk about mining, let's really talk about mining, because Rwanda does not own any mining companies in the DRC, but there are many European countries that have mining companies in the DRC who've been mining there for years, companies from all over the world, including Europe, not only in North Kivu, but also in North or South Kivu, and even in other provinces in the DRC. So there's a lot of mining going on. We don't have any mines there. We happen to be very close to Northern Kivu, for instance. So some minerals have been passing through Rwanda and transiting through onto other countries, including from mines that are owned by Congolese officials themselves and other Congolese business people, because we have infrastructure, we have roads, we have safety. No one's going to steal your minerals if you're doing business across the border, and we have an airline, so they, over the years, they preferred to pass their minerals through here because Kinshasa is very far away, and as far as I know, there's no easy way to go by road from North Kivu to Kinshasa, so we're closer. However, I think also another issue is that talking about mining as a cause of the conflict is very cynical, because what we have here is people fighting for their lives. They're fighting for survival. So constantly talking about the mines is a distraction. It's a distraction, and it's unjust to the people who are trying to get their cause to be understood. And then, as you said, we have our own mining sector here. This region is full of mines. They didn't, when the Europeans drew the border in 1884, the mines didn't all run away. The minerals didn't all run away to Congo. So we do have mines here. We have, and we're trying to do mining in the right way. Modern mining does not spoil our environment. Mining that ensures that the benefits go back to Rwandans, and we're able to do this because the level of corruption in Rwanda is very low. So whatever benefits that we get from our investment in the mines here, from investing in refineries or the smelting industry, the revenues actually go back into developing the country because of the low level of corruption, which I can't say the same for in DRC. So if the international community and others who are accusing us of mining, of being there because of the mines, I think they need to be honest about who's really profiting from mining in the DRC, and they should need to be honest about what's also happening in Rwanda, where we have signed agreements with companies like Rio Tinto. Rio Tinto is now exploring for lithium in Rwanda, and we have many other international companies who are doing mining in Rwanda, and we have a regulatory body that monitors to ensure that it's done right. So we're trying to do it in the right way, and we hope that the region can also work together to ensure that mining is also done in the right way if we're serious about mining, and working together with international companies and partner states outside Africa to ensure that it's done correctly and people benefit from it. Africans benefit from what's under their soil.
Yes, definitely, for the people, for the right distribution of the income and etc. So talking more about the international cooperation, we came from Baku, Azerbaijan, and I would like to ask you about the bilateral relations between our countries, about the perspectives for the future.
I'm glad you're here. It's great to have a TV crew here from Azerbaijan. We have good relations with Azerbaijan. We have since 2019 Azerbaijan ambassador based not in Kigali, but presented his credentials in 2019. And our embassy in Turkey is also looks after our interests in Azerbaijan. Our ambassador has been accredited in Baku as well. We look forward to strengthening this relationship. We had a high-level delegation here in January to follow up on some agreements that were signed earlier, and we look forward to cooperating on very many areas that we can together. Rwanda participated in COP29 in Baku last year. Very good opportunity for us. High-level contacts were made. Congratulations for successfully hosting that as well. So we look forward to strengthening relations with Azerbaijan.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for your time and for joining our discussion today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And I would like to remind to our viewers that today with me I have a very distinguished guest, Yolande Makolo, spokesperson for the government of Rwanda. Thank you for being us. Today we are with you from Kigali, Rwanda.